In Salisbury, Maryland, more than half the population is African American. The Centre for Disease Control says that black women are at least 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications. Misha Shockley works as a birth coach and volunteers at the Eastern Shore Pregnancy Centre.
We see a lot of families that are in crisis, so unplanned pregnancies, which we know make up about 50% of pregnancies. We see a lot of teen moms, sometimes as young as 14 years old, a lot of domestic violence victims.
One of her clients, Shia, was 16 when she had her first child 8 years ago. She says it was a traumatic delivery that scarred her.
It was a really difficult labor. I lost a lot of blood, I started hemorrhaging, and I think it was because of all the pushing, and they had to cut me. He was face up instead of face down. I begged the doctor, please just give me a C-section because I was in labor for 27 hours. And they were like, no, no, you gotta do this, you have to have him naturally, we don't want to do a C-section.
Alex Richardson suffered from preeclampsia when birthing her daughter Ariana. Alex says she spent 3 days in labour with her cervix dilated at 1 centimetre until she finally received pain relief. Alex says she was treated poorly, in part as a result of racial bias.
I was in pain when they had my second epidural in, and she had my monitors strapped so tight they were cutting into my skin. And when I would tell her, like, it hurts, and she's like, oh, it's gonna hurt because you're in labor.
A few hours away from Salisbury, Washington, D.C. is the most dangerous place for black women to give birth. 17 of the 18 women who died from pregnancy-related causes here between 2012 and 2018 were black. The maternity ward at Providence Hospital is one of 2 that's closed down in Washington in recent years. Both of them are in the poorest parts of the district where access to care is already scarce. Experts say that it's decisions like these that disproportionately affect low-income, often African-American women. Dr. Hugh Mighty is the Dean of the College of Medicine at Howard University in Washington. Studies show that hospitals can be unprepared for maternal emergencies and that doctors don't always get the right training.
We've raised the bar by, 1, using more simulations, more drills to get people familiar with how do you handle an obstetrical hemorrhage. When someone's bleeding and they're bleeding in pregnancy, they're generally bleeding a lot and you don't have a lot of time.
But given that the maternal death rate has been steadily climbing in the last 2 decades, activists say that the US needs to put an end to what has been a silent public health crisis. Sally Ihan, TRT World, Washington.